Okay, guys. Well, I'm glad to be on another wonderful call this beautiful, beautiful Friday morning, and I'm ready to get started. Hopefully you guys are as well. What I'm going to talk about today is last week I talked a little bit, or I gave examples of how your mind is like a garden, your subconscious mind. So just think of it this way. Your mind controls your brain controls your body. Your mind controls your brain controls your body, and that's how we create. So everything starts in the mind, and the mind is a field. It's farmland, and what we're doing is every time that we think something, we automatically start sowing that seed into the ground. And so just imagine how many seeds we put out a day. And what we're trying to do, what we'd like to do, what I'm teaching you to do is that those seeds be seeds of positivity, not negativity. So what is the difference? And a lot of what I teach, guys, you're going to see it repeated, because it's only really a few things you have to learn to be successful in life. It's just a matter of consistency. So if we're sowing positive seeds, and what are positive seeds? Positive seeds of positive thoughts are thoughts of things that you want in your life. Simple as that. Positive person is not a person that sees everything as sunshine and rainbows. No, that could very well be somebody that's delusional. Positive person is a person that will only allow themselves to think of the things that they want in life, irregardless of the circumstance and situations in which they find themselves. So you may be in a storm, you may be going through some tough times, but you only allow yourself to think of the things that you want. And that's one thing that I always do like to point out. You know, we live in a negative society, and I don't say this to be a negative thinker. I'm a very positive thinker. I think of the things that I want. But I also need to understand the landscape in which I live, and it's a negative world. It's a world that's controlled, is being controlled by a few, and they do it through fear, okay? So, and that's what I'm going to talk about today, is more than anything fear. But I want to go ahead and just do a summary of everything in case you're listening to this recording, and you'd like to share it with somebody. They can have some context. But, so, if I'm sowing positive thoughts, and I'm limiting, because we're going to limit our negative seeds. It's not like we can completely eliminate our negative seeds. There will be some negative seeds in there, but they're going to be crushed out by our positive seeds and our positive fruits. So negative thoughts is a person that thinks, or negative thoughts are thoughts that we think about the things that we don't want in our life, our problems, negative things that are happening in our life. When you're in that storm, it's actually looking at the storm and seeing, oh my gosh, this storm is getting worse and worse. Have you ever been out and it starts getting dark? I'm sure you have. Everybody has, right? It just happened this week, and here in Dallas, and you're out there and you're like, oh my gosh, these clouds are getting darker and darker, and look, they're coming over there from the north, and it looks like they're coming in from the east, and this is going to be really bad storm. And then all of a sudden you start getting a little bit of sprinkling of rain, and they're like, oh my gosh, and it's starting now, and before you know it, it's a big storm. And you just keep thinking about it and talking about it. So we do that when we all do that when we start thinking about the problems and the negative situations happening in our life. But I plead to you, I encourage and plead to you that that is not the way to manifest the life that you want. If you allow yourself to always just focus on what's going on right now in your life that you don't like. Now, these are thoughts, I will add to this, these are thoughts that are emotionalized. So it's thinking of the things that you want with emotion and thinking of the things that you don't want, those being the negative thoughts, with emotion, okay? So now, this is where I'm going to lead you to the teaching of the day. Negative thoughts that are emotionalized become fear. I don't like fear. I don't like that it exists because it's an illusion. I lived under fear for so many years of my life since I was a little boy. I had so much fear of everything that I would make myself sick. I'd get stomach aches, I'd throw up ever so often, pretty much every week, because I was fearful of everything around me. And some of you may be going through that now or go through that, but a negative thought, which is thinking of the things that you don't want, with emotion is going to create fear, plain and simple. And fear, as we talked about last week, paralyzes you from creating the life that you want. And if you don't learn how to overcome fear, it's going to be very difficult to create that life that you want. So, once again, fear is a negative emotion, which is thinking of the things that you don't want in your life, that is emotionalized. And you can feel it in the pit of your stomach. We all have it. I'd like to say I have no fear. I have no fear, but I do have, at times, fear wanting to come into my life. And I do these few little exercises that will get rid of that fear. So, let's go ahead and go into it. So, when you have fear, you're thinking of something that's happening, and then you start, like this storm, you just start seeing it get worse and worse, and all of a sudden you start getting that, you put that emotion into it, and you start getting that feeling in the pit of your stomach that starts creeping up, and you're like, oh my gosh, what, it gets to a point where you just can't control it. What I want you to do is the following. First of all, just remember that there's a season for everything. Sometimes things that look negative in your life are just something that has to happen in your life to take you to the next season, to teach you a lesson so that you can grow and that you can become the person that you need to be able to manifest that you want to manifest. So at times when we are challenged with situations that we don't understand because we've never gone through that, we have fear. And so what I want you to do, one of the exercises, first of all, let me give you the simple exercise for fear on things that you know they're not here to help you. They're not here to help you grow. And when you get those thoughts of the little things that are not going to help you grow, all I want you to do is very simple. Your brain is all our brains are like a computer, so you can manipulate it like you can manipulate a computer. And the way you do that for your brain, when you're getting a little some fear creeping in on something that is just not for you, shouldn't even be going down that rabbit hole. I want you to just simply say, cancel, cancel, clear. Just go, cancel, cancel, clear. And you just say it. Now, when you have thoughts, you can only have one thought at a time. We feel at times, especially when we're going through negative emotions and having negative thoughts, we feel like there's a million thoughts coming in at once. It can't happen, okay? It doesn't happen that way. thoughts come in one at a time. Now, they may come in one at a time, and they're just bam, 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 and they feel like a lot at one time, but they're not. So you can control that by just simply saying cancel, cancel, clear. You'll say cancel, cancel, clear, cancel, cancel, clear, and you say that until you can calm yourself down. And then I want you to insert a positive thought. I want you to go through your vision board or your vision pictures with your why statements and start reading them. Because you're now inserting, now you're not allowing that negative thought to come in. Now you're putting in positive thoughts. And you just do that until you can calm yourself down. And while you're doing this, I want you to breathe in, and then twice as long as it took you to breathe in, you breathe out. So I go breathe in, and twice as long to breathe out until you can calm yourself down. Okay. And don't ever believe that you have to have a negative thought. Don't ever go, I have to go through this. And remember, we don't punish ourselves, guys. Do not punish yourself. We may have to pay a price for a bad seed, but we're not here to punish ourselves. Okay, if you did something wrong that you feel you should punish yourself, well, first of all, punishing yourself is never going to help anyone. So if you feel you did something wrong, go make it right. You're like, well, I can't make it right anymore. Well, go do something good for someone. That's making it right. Okay, now that's it. I got a few more minutes left. So the other exercise that I want you to take a little bit more time, but I want you to practice it when you're having negative thoughts that are emotionalized and becoming fear. I want you to reverse whatever situation it is. So you're going to get an alpha state. Remember, alpha state is 10 cycles per second. It's of 10 cycles per second of brainwaves. So it's a state where you're 1 foot in the material world, the physical world, and 1 foot in the spiritual realm. And that's where you create. That's where the seeds are more, or the ground is the most fertile, and the seeds take on more of a hold, and that's where they're nurtured. That's where they grow out of. So that's the alpha state. So what I want you to do is go into your alpha state, which is very simple. You just sit down somewhere, lie down, and you just do the breathing that I just showed you. The breathing exercises. Calm yourself down, and when you feel calm and relaxed, I want you to reverse whatever negative thing is going on in your life. So if you see that, let's just say your company is being sold and you don't know what you're going to do next, you can go, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen with my future. I don't know what I'm going to do for a job now. I don't know how am I going to take care of my family? And you start thinking of exactly the opposite. You start thinking that this new company is going to be amazing, that you're going to be able to make even more money for your family. They're going to give you a raise. They're going to give you a better position. And you start thinking of things that are positive for your family. Let's say you go to a doctor for you or a family member, and they say you have some illness that's just really, it's just really bad. It's cancer. It's whatever is said to you doesn't matter, guys. I want you to get in the alpha state, and I want you to hear and see. You got to play scenarios in your mind, because that's how we create. We play scenarios in your mind. Just like when you take a negative situation and you blow it out of proportion. You get a bill. John Quixote always say you get a bill, and this bill you didn't expect it, and it's for X amount of dollars, and you don't have that X amount of dollars, and it said it's going to go on your credit if you don't pay it within the next 15 days, and you start thinking about how are you going to pay that when you can barely pay what you have, and then you start just thinking of what else can happen to me, what other bills can be sent to me, and then what happens if they fire me from my job, I can't even pay what I have now, and now I can't even pay these other bills, and then I'm going to end up in the street, my kids are not going to have any food, we're going to be homeless. You start creating that, Well, now I want you to create that in a positive sense. Start creating that you go to that doctor, and if it's you or your family, say, no, you know what, it was a mistake. And you're like, Juan, this is ridiculous. How can that do it? Do it. Because you know what? The worst thing that can happen is that maybe you don't get well right away, but you're on track to getting well. Where the opposite, you can get worse a lot quicker. You can lose that job before they even, bring in some other company. You can this and that. You can make it worse because you can create those scenarios of making it worse. So I want you to create the scenarios. I want you to create that movie in your mind of how you would like everything to turn around. Just think of most movies in America or most sitcoms. Everything gets I've watched shows, detective shows, that are going so bad, or a movie going so bad, and I go, there's like 10 minutes left in this show. And this show never ends on a bad note. But the thing is going south really quick. How are they going to turn this around? And all of a sudden, just like that, the sun comes out and everything gets resolved in the last 5 minutes. It took 55 minutes to just downpour. It's getting worse and worse. You think, there's no way this guy, MacGyver's not getting out of this. And the last 5 minutes, everything is solved. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. How'd that happen? And that's not plausible. That could never really happen. Well, yeah, it can. It happened in that show, and it can happen in your life. Absolutely. Just make a movie, turn everything around. And here's the key, guys. When you're turning this movie around, you have to feel it. You can't be feeling negative emotions and be turning your life your life around in this scene. No, you have to emotionalize it. And that's the key. How strong your emotions you can drive into that scene, that's how faster it's going to change for you. So when you're thinking about, you go to the doctor and they say, you know what, I'm actually bringing some of my colleagues in to meet you because we've never seen this. It's just like, I have the x-rays right here. You have this problem, and then today it's gone. It's not there. They have to meet you. You're like the miracle woman, miracle man. Hey, amen. That can happen. Why not? If somebody can win the lottery and from one day to the next become a millionaire, why can't you win the lottery for your life by creating beautiful scenes for your life? I've done it, guys. I wouldn't be teaching you this if I hadn't actually done it. I'll give you one little nugget, and you're going to be like, I don't believe it, Juan. You're lying to me. But I'm going to tell you this because I'm out of time. I have a contract business. One time we had putting up a home addition. It rained, and we had not finished putting up the shingles, and it rained, and they called me at like 4 in the morning and said, man, water came in everywhere, in our bedroom, down the walls, everything. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe this. I said, well, I'll be there as early as I can at 6:45. Well, on my drive over there, it was Rome, Texas. It was about an hour drive. The whole time I was visualizing that when I touched those walls, they were dry, and they said, man, it was totally wet and I visualized them saying, Juan, it was totally wet. We're not lying to you, but now I don't know what happened. Because they had told me, we pulled up the carpets, everything is just soaked. So I got there, the carpets were pulled up, but guess what? Those walls, which I thought I was going to have to take down and, re-sheet rock, tape it, and spend all that extra money fixing that problem, they were dry. And and the exact same words that I saw in my mind, they said, Juan, we're not lying to you. These were wet. We don't know. I guess the carpet absorbed everything. I said, sure, that's exactly what happened. The carpet absorbed everything off the walls. That's exactly what happened. Because people couldn't believe it. But that's it, guys. This is the lesson of the day. So just listen to this call, guys. Listen to these calls at least once or twice or 3 times during the week, so you can just becomes part of you. Well, love you guys. Have a great weekend. Spend it with your family. Enjoy this holiday weekend, and I'll see you next Friday.
Thank you, Juan.
You're welcome.